Division champions, Brian. I don't care what you say. Division champions, Brian. I don't care what you say. AFC South champions, Brian. What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sports topic. And today we're going to talk some football, Houston Texans football. Today, we're going to talk about the division champions. We're going to break it down before we get that. Like I've been telling you before, man, if you're liking the content, make sure you're liking the channel. Make sure you're watching all the videos, you commenting all the videos, you liking all the videos, you sharing all the videos on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, any type of social media platform you use. Make sure you share them same social media platforms. Also, follow me on social media as well. The link in the description below. We're still in the race to get to 6,000 subscribers. You know what that means? I need you to tell a friend, tell another friend, tell some more friends so they can tell some friends and put them on game and let's get the channel to the 6,000 subscribers. Definitely really appreciate that. Definitely appreciate your help. Now, let's talk about it because we just seen the Houston Texans go inside Indianapolis, first primetime game of the season, going there on the road in a crucial hostile environment, winner take all situation, winner goes to the playoffs, and the loser goes home. And we see what the Houston Texans did. To sit back on our couch the next day and watch the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars battle out because, very simple, Jacksonville wins, they win the AFC South. The Tennessee Titans win, the Houston Texans are once again division champions. And by clicking on this video, you already know what happened, what went down. The AFC South Championship is back with its rightful owner, the Houston Texans. We was just letting y'all borrow that, man. I've been trying to tell y'all, we was just letting y'all boys borrow. We already know what it is. That AFC South Championship belongs to either Houston or Indianapolis. And for the last decade, it's been chilling in the city of Houston for quite a long time. It comes to the city of Houston quite a bit. So that's the rightful owner right there as it stands right now, especially for the last decade. Since 2011, that championship been sitting up in Houston for a little minute to win that division. I don't know what y'all saying. It's just division time. But hey, I'm hyped. We have a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback and a rookie offensive coordinator. You heard what Troy Aikman said after the game that he was on a team when he was a rookie quarterback. They had a rookie head coach and a rookie offensive coordinator. They won one game. And Troy Aikman wasn't even the starter of that game that they won. He didn't even start that game that they won his rookie year. To see DeMeco Ryans and C.J. Stroud and Bobby Slowick to go out there and win 10 games and get to the playoffs, and now hosting a playoff game by winning the AFC South. But come on, man, we gonna talk about it, man, because like I just said, cause we gonna talk about somebody who's a generational talent, right? No, #1 overall pick. It was a generational talent. See, I tried to tell people before the draft about Trevor Lawrence that I didn't see what everybody else saw with Trevor Lawrence. I didn't see it. I did not see it. I didn't see what everybody else saw about Trevor Lawrence. And I've been trying to tell people that for a while. We crowning him the prince and the king. And, you know, and he about to run shop in the NFL. It was all, what you call his fault? Urban Meyer's fault. Because Urban Meyer was a trash coach. We got Doug Peterson. It used to be was a Super Bowl head coach with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what we got. That's what Jacksonville fans were saying throughout the last offseason, all year last year, throughout the last offseason and all this season, that it was their division. Supposedly it was their division. They supposed to be in the AFC Championship game, possibly make a Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence supposed to be second in the MVP vote, only behind Patrick Mahomes. This is what everybody was saying going into this season. And again, on a game, on the road, against a team that doesn't have anything to play for. The Tennessee Titans have nothing to play for. Nothing to play for at all. Nothing to play for at all. In the game where you have to win to get to the playoffs because Pittsburgh won. So not only do you have to win to get in the division, you have to win to get to the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence, 29 of 43, 67.4 completion percentage, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and a loss of 28 to 20 loss in that type of situation. Again, C.J. Stroud in a more hostile situation because the Indianapolis Colts are fighting for a playoff spot in a situation. This is a winner-take-all. And he's a rookie, by the way. 20 of 26, 67.9 completion percentage, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 23-19 win. And also masterfully in that last drive of the game, 7 for 7, leading his team down there to get into was it 2nd and 20 at one point, 1st and 20 another time, leading his team down there on the game-winning drive. Like I said, 7 for 7. They punch his ticket in and get his way into the playoffs and win that football game. When Trevor Lawrence, on the last drive, with over a minute left to go in the game, 3rd and 2. No, it was 2nd and 2. 3 bad incompletions, overthrowing his receivers, just bad decisions and bad plays. Just completely selling the football, overthrowing his receivers in bad crucial situations. Now, November 26th is when the Jacksonville Jaguars walked in the NRG Stadium. We didn't have Tommy Fairbairn. We missed our field goal, and the Jacksonville Jaguars ended up winning that game. The Jacksonville Jaguars had a 96% chance to win the division. The Houston Texans had a 34% chance to win the division. The Houston Texans went 4-2 in that stretch in the last remaining 6 games. The Jacksonville Jaguars went 1-5, and the one win that they had was when Trevor Lawrence didn't play. So Trevor Lawrence went 0-5 in that 6-game stretch. And I don't want to hear about, Trevor Lawrence was hurt and hobbled and things like that. Every game in that 5 games he played outside of this one game, every game he left with an injury. Every game it was an ankle, it was a knee, it was a concussion, it was a hair follicle, it was a split end, it was a toenail, it was a fingernail. It was always something after every single game. There was something wrong with Trevor Lawrence in that stretch. They was building in those excuses. I seen what was going on after every game. Because again, that Monday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals, I was concerned because the way he acted, it looked like it was bad. Now I was like, hold on, man. Hold up. I don't want nobody to celebrate no injuries now. Don't do that. Don't celebrate no injuries now. Hold up now. Hold on. But he ended up, it was supposed, I think it was a high ankle sprain or something like that. He came back the next week and played. But then I think he left that game something with his hip or his knee or something like that. Then he left the Ravens game with a concussion. That's the only time he missed. No, actually, he played after concussion. He got the concussion and then played after he got the concussion. It was the knee against because the Panthers game. That's the only game he didn't play was the Panthers game. That's when he had the knee issue in that game, and that's the only time he missed the game. And he came back. He missed that game. That was last week against the Panthers. But every other game against Tampa Bay, against the Cleveland Browns, against the Ravens, and against the Bengals, he left all 4 of those games. He left all 4 of those games with an injury either during the game, because the game on Monday night he left against the Bengals, he left in the middle of the game, and that game with the overtime. And again, I don't want to hear that Trevor Lawrence got hurt in that game, and that's the reason why they was losing, because they was losing before Trevor Lawrence got hurt. Actually, when their backup came in, that's when actually they came back and took the lead, and then the Cincinnati Bengals had to tie to get the overtime and then win in overtime. So actually, their backup quarterback put them in a bad position to win the football game because they was losing with Trevor Lawrence. And then the one game they won against the Carolina Panthers, now granted it was the Carolina Panthers, which is the worst team in football. Can't believe that we lost to them. That's a conversation for another day. That's the only game that they won in that last final 5, in their last 6 games, and Trevor Lawrence did not play. But again, the rest of the games, he had an issue in every single game after the game. They was building in those excuses. That's not generational talent. That's not number 1 overall pick. That's not the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck and John Elway and Peyton Manning. That's what they said about Trevor Lawrence. I don't see that right there. I don't see that right there. And I gotta have a situation. You have to win because you don't have the luxury. Oh, you can backdoor and get in as a loss because Pittsburgh lost. Pittsburgh won, so you had to win now. You had to win now, or else you was eliminated. You turned the ball over twice early on, and then when you did get an opportunity to get the football back, and it's 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, and 4th and 2, you can't hit your receivers. But you're supposed to tell me that this is supposed to be a generational talent. And before that, on beginning drive, he had an opportunity to get a wide open touchdown and oversold his receiver there. Oversold the receiver there too. Don't sit up and tell me he's a generational talent. Now, back to the Houston Texans. Again, AFC South champions, hosting the playoff game, will host the game on Saturday. I think it's the 3 o'clock game, the 3:30 game, whatever. The first game on Saturday. against the Cleveland Browns on NBC. Again, the Houston Texans. This is their 7th division title. 7 times the Houston Texans have been to the playoffs. All 7 times the Houston Texans have won the division title. The Houston Texans have never went in as an actual wild card. They've only went to the playoffs as a division leader. 1. 2, they always give us the early playoff game. Even when we've been the 3 seed. We've been the 3 seed before, and they gave us the early playoff game. I think the very first time we went to the playoffs, we were the 3 seed, and they gave us the early playoff game. We were the 3 seed in 2018, and they gave us the early game. We were the 3 seed in 19, I believe, and they gave us the first game. Now we were the 3 seed in 12, and they gave us the early game. We were the 3 seed in 15. No, in 15 we were the 4 seed. In 15 and 16, both those times we were the 4 seed, and they gave us the early game. So we've always gotten the early game. We've always got the very first game. Luckily, I'm glad this game's on NBC. Back-to-back weeks, we've had production crews that I like. I like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman calling the game, and they called the game on this past Saturday in the win to get in situation versus the Indianapolis Colts. And now this playoff situation, we're going to be on NBC. I like the NBC. That's the Sunday Night Football production. I like their production crew. I like the way they do things. I like all the bells and whistles they put in their production crew when they host those type of events. So I'm okay with that. Again, we get to get a chance to go up against the Cleveland Browns. Most importantly, we get a home playoff game. I know a lot of people, they want to go to Kansas City. You want to go to Baltimore. You want to go to Buffalo. You want to go to Miami. You want to go all these things. I want the game at home. I've been saying this for months. I want the playoff game at home. Part of the reason why is because I want to be in a controlled environment, and I want an opportunity, because you win your division, you have an opportunity no matter what goes on around you, but depending on what goes around you, rather, that you have an opportunity and a chance to host multiple playoff games. If you win against Cleveland, and then I think Miami goes to Kansas City. If Miami beats Kansas City, and then say Pittsburgh beats Buffalo, which I really highly doubt, but just say for the sake of argument, those teams win. That means you host another playoff game. You don't have to. That means you will host. I think you host Miami. Because the lowest seed will face the highest seed. So you will host Miami, and Pittsburgh will have to go to Baltimore. And that's actually very interesting because those division rivals, and I wouldn't sleep on Pittsburgh going up there and beating Baltimore, because that's the situation. If Pittsburgh go out there and beat Baltimore, then you host in the AFC Championship game if you handle your business against the Miami Dolphins. And I've been saying this for months, that against any team in the AFC, I think the Houston Texans, if they play their game, they could walk into any stadium and beat any team in the AFC. I believe that. I believe they can beat any team in any given day, because if they play their game, they can beat any given team because they have C.J. Stroud on their roster, and they're going to be walking in with a quarterback advantage a lot of times. Again, I know Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. I know Josh Allen is Josh Allen. I know Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson, more than likely about to win his second MVP. I understand all that. C.J. Stroud's going to walk into a building. C.J. Stroud is out of all the guys playing football this season, CJ's played better football than all of them, if you want to be completely honest. From a quarterback position, he's played better than Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's better than Patrick Mahomes, but he's played better than Patrick Mahomes. He's played better than Josh Allen. Josh Allen turns the football over. Josh Allen didn't look all that good tonight, honestly, against the Miami Dolphins. He played a little bit sporadic. Now, he played well at the end, but there were some moments in that game that you looked at Josh Allen like, really? And again, I've been saying that for a while, that if I was a Buffalo Bills fan, Josh Allen would frustrate the mess out of me. Josh Allen would frustrate the complete mess out of me the way he plays football. And then Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson does have that dynamic factor, but he hasn't lived up to he hasn't played the way he doesn't look like the MVP Lamar Jackson back in 2019. He doesn't look like that level of MVP. And again, mostly he's going to get MVP based off having the best, being the best team, being the best player on the best team. And then he did have that 5 touchdown performance against the Miami Dolphins when he needed it, and also blowing out blowing out Brock Purdy on Christmas Day. So those two performances, not to mention him having the best record, was going to counterpart him and put him in the MVP conversation. But if you look at how they play football this year, C.J. Stroud has played better football from a quarterback position, especially than Lamar Jackson. But I say all that to say the Houston Texans, once again, AFC South champions, and they done it with a rookie head coach, a rookie quarterback, and a rookie offensive coordinator. Like, DeMeco Ryans has come in and continued to elevate how coaches look in the Houston Texans organization. Now, I know we've seen for the last 2 years, and I don't really count David Culley and Lovie Smith. Those were really just fly-by-night type situations just to get you going. Really legitimate head coaches is Don Capers, the very first coach of the Houston Texans, who in his first season only won 4 games. Gary Kubiak, the second head coach of Houston Texans, his first season went 6-10. And then Bill O'Brien, who actually had a shot to get to the playoffs. They won their last game. They went 9-7 his first year. You need the Cleveland Browns to beat the Baltimore Ravens, and the Cleveland Browns lost to the Baltimore Ravens, and you didn't get to go in as a wild card. You end up going home, and then the following year in 2015, he did win the division for the next 2 years. But he did that really on the strength of a Gary Kubiak-led team, because a lot of those players that was on that 9-7 team was on the team a couple years ago that was 12-4 with J.J. Watt and Andre Johnson and Arian Foster and things like that. So he had a lot of good players on that team. You just added in Hopkins, you added in some other players also in the mix in that time frame between 2012 and 2014 with Bill O'Brien first year. DeMeco Ryans has done this largely with a cast of guys, not largely, majoritively, with a cast of guys that only won 3 games last year, won 3.5 games last year, and the year before only won 4 games. Like, that's what he mostly did that with this year. That's what he largely did that with this year. So and then not only get to the playoffs, you win the division. You're AFC South champions. That's kind of the reason why, like, man, and you see you see how they celebrated after that. You see how emotional it was. And that's one of the things I was like, man, if the Carolina Panthers would have handled business, if the Carolina Panthers would have did us one solid and handled business the week prior, we would have known on Saturday night that game was for the division, because they didn't get a chance to celebrate with the T-shirts and the hats and things like that. And that's cool, because now they got an opportunity and a chance to possibly celebrate with better T-shirts. AFC champions, not just AFC South champions, conference champions, Super Bowl champions. We have an opportunity to get other T-shirts and hats. More important, T-shirts and hats. Something our franchise has never seen before. The city of Houston, period, has never seen a Super Bowl appearance from any type of organization from their team. But the old team that used to be in Houston has made it to a couple of conference championship games back in the 60s or the 70s. I think it was the 70s, back in the Lovely Blue days. But now we could do it again, or do it even better this time in the city of Houston with this franchise right here. And again, this might be the last time that we, depending if we end up going on the road, what happens after us, this might be one of the last couple times we get to see this jersey right here. That's another thing. Put some mess up on your mind. The last time I get to see these jerseys. And I said this all last week when we was going to the game. I kept on saying, I don't think that's why I kept on saying the last home regular season game. Last regular home season game. I didn't feel like it was going to be the last home game, period, because I felt like the Houston Texans were going to win the division. I felt like the Houston Texans was going to win the division. Once Jacksonville, because again, after we lost to Jacksonville back on November 26th, I thought it was going to be bleak. I ain't going to lie to you. I thought it was bleak, and I thought it really wasn't an opportunity for the Texans to win the division. The Texans could make the playoffs, but not really win the division. But as Jacksonville started dipping, Jacksonville proved out to be Jacksonville. And they showed you exactly what it is, because now they at home. They kept on dipping and dipping and dipping. I didn't expect them to go 1-5 in the last 6 games. I did not foresee that. 4-2, and I said it. I said 5-1, 4-2 would definitely get you in. 3-3, you might be able to get to the playoffs, but maybe not. And if you go 2-4 or worse, you're not making the playoffs at all. So I said obviously 6-0 would definitely get you in. 5-1 more likely get you in. 4-2, yeah, it should still get you in. 3-3 is when it got bleak in the last 6 games, and we ended up going 4-2. So we was able to do what we had to do, get into it. And again, we lost the games that I said you were afforded to lose, and that was at the Jets, at Cleveland. You were able to lose those games. You had to win your division games, the 2 games against the Titans and the game against the Colts. And at the time, you had to beat the Broncos because they were the team right below you. So you had to make sure to knock them out and eliminate them, and not able to give them hope and to eliminate that tiebreaker, just like with the Bengals and Pittsburgh. You eliminated them as well by having the tiebreaker against them, even though Pittsburgh still was able to win. But I didn't foresee Jacksonville wetting the bed like that to only go 1-5. I really didn't. Now I knew they were going to beat Carolina, and I knew that they were possibly going to lose to the Ravens. I knew they were going to lose to the Ravens. It was the Tampa game and the Bengals game. There was those two games for me were the two games because no Joe Burrow for the Bengals, and then Tampa. You didn't know what you were gonna get out of Joe Burrow. I mean, not Joe Burrow, out of Baker Mayfield, and we see exactly what happened. So great job. Great job by all those teams able to do the Houston Texans solid. But more importantly, the Houston Texans, DeMeco Ryans and C.J. Stroud did exactly what they had to do. And now we are going to host a game, wild card weekend, in Houston. Houston Texans division champions like they supposed to be. Like they supposed to be. That division title belongs in only two towns. Houston and Indianapolis. That's why it was fitting that the Texans and the Colts battled for it. Because that's where it belongs. The Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts have more division titles than anybody, mostly because they had Peyton Manning. Second is the Houston Texans. You already know what it is, man. You already know what it is. So make sure y'all tune in on Saturday, Houston Texans versus the Cleveland Browns. But before that, doing a live breakdown of the NFL playoffs on Wednesday. You already know. Doing a live preview on Friday, previewing the game, Houston Texans versus the Cleveland Browns, breaking down all the nuances, making sure you know exactly what's going on exactly after the game. You already know what to do after the game. Pull up right here after the game, immediately after the game, live stream, immediately breaking down, recapping what we just seen for the Houston Texans against the Cleveland Browns. So make sure y'all pull up. Also, make sure shout out to everybody out there, Sauce Sports, my boy Honcho, Sauce Sports, everybody out there in the round table. He gonna be going live all week, so make sure y'all tune in right there. And again, we still in the race to 6,000 subscribers, so you know what that means. I need you to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell another friend, tell another friend, and put them on game with the channel. Still on the race to get 6,000 subscribers. Can't do without y'all. You know what I need y'all to do? I need you to like, share, and subscribe. So, man, hey, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you click that bell, get more videos. I holla.